Like someone was sitting at the table, and yeah, it's head height, same as you, basically. So, okay, cool.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Will Allen. I work for HP, but what I'm doing here is representing myself as an individual technologist, not as part of Hewlett Packard. So these are my personal views. I just gave a keynote here at Robo Business, and I'm happy to talk to Roy about it and share some of my thoughts with you. The three main points that I was delivering was that robotic technologies in places like homes and offices and hotels and retail, I feel I'm missing. They're late. They wake up in the morning and go, where's my robot? There should be something here. Maybe not everybody has the feeling that they're missing, but I think they would enjoy them if they happened. We walked on the moon in 1969. It's almost 50 years downstream, and there aren't practical, affordable robotic solutions in these environments beyond like robo-vacs.
I mean, one of my key interests, I mean, for the last several years, is I've been working on this mind project called the Regolith Project.
Okay.
I want to build and operate robotic vehicles on the moon. Using 360 cameras and other cameras to drive around the moon virtually through telepresence.
Okay, same as or similar to like a robot underwater working on an oil rig or something in deep sea.
From the Earth to the moon and back, it's a 3-second round trip signal.
It's not that long, and so you could either suffer you're going to suffer the latency.
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of lag, but the thing, when you're operating a vehicle on the moon, you're not going to be going more than 10 or 15 miles an hour anyhow, because you'd be bouncing up off the surface.
Well, and if the robot on the moon had some autonomy, so it would do basic collision avoidance and not let you do really stupid things, but you could still drive it, then I don't think the latency would be a big issue. So I use telepresence robots a lot. There's a little latency when they drive. I live with it. If it was 3 seconds, I'd want some help.
Right.
But I mean, more what I find annoying is if I drive into a Wi-Fi dead spot, right? And I always imagine it's like, supposing I was my job was at NASA or JPL to run some Mars rover, and I'd hate to go to my boss and go, well, boss, I had a bad day. I drove the rover behind a rock, and it'll be 37 years before we get connected to it again. so there's still some little gaps, right? So one of the things. Let me talk a little about the telepresence because it's kind of cool. First time I used one, I fired it up. It's in the middle of the wall of a pretty big building. I had to go down to the corner to a conference room. And I literally almost ran into a colleague who was coming around a cube wall. And it was good and bad. The surprise was because I'm 6 feet tall, and the walls are about 5, but the telepresence robot is about 4.5.
Right.
So I was right next to the wall, so I just popped out of nowhere and we almost collided. So I learned, don't drive next to the walls or on the corners, go around the outside. But the other thing that was fun is I literally, as we'd say, I ran into my colleague Rihanna on the way to the meeting. So what we did, we chatted for 2 minutes. Well, if I just jump on a meeting with a Skype for Business or call in on the speakerphone, I don't move through the building to randomly encounter colleagues and friends and have these experiences. So the fact that I was moving through there and had to get from A to B was very valuable. What's a little annoying is the low-level driving. So kind of one of the things I want is taxi mode. Take me to the room. I want to ride along. I'll hit the space bar if I run into Roy and want to talk to you.
Yeah, and have some autonomy that says that, okay, I'm traveling with this person, so walk with them.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry about pacing with the person. Just say, follow Maria. Right. Walk beside. I'm with Maria, and then I could talk to her, talk to other people. So I want a little autonomy, and I think the same thing could apply on your moonshot.
Right.
Would be a low-level autonomy would make it prevent you from having accidents and doing silly stuff, but you would still be in control, going where you wanted, deciding to go this way or that way, and then having the experience that would follow, which is part of what.
Basically, what I'm looking at is, it's going to have some level of autonomy because otherwise, if I'm doing mining and stuff and I'm just scooping up regolith and dumping it, it's going to be boring. But it would allow me to augment the decision-making processes of the telerobotic vehicle that I'm working with. I can jump from one vehicle to another vehicle to another vehicle.
So this is something that happened to me with the current telepresence. I was normally I feel when I'm on it, I'm in the room, I have coordinates, people look at me, I love that. I feel a little like I'm handicapped. It's hard to move. I can't open a door. I can't turn my head. It's like I have to rotate the whole body. But you do get some superpowers. So a few weeks ago we were in a meeting and somebody said, "Where's Kevin?" And then somebody else said, "Maybe he's in the lab downstairs." Well, we had a telepresence robot and I said, "I'll go check." And the people look at me like, "Huh?" for a second, and then I log off. 7 seconds later, I'm on the other robot. I look around, he's not in the lab. 30 seconds after the whole thing started, I'm back in the first room, and I said, "Kevin's not down there." And you couldn't have gotten a quarter of the distance there one way.
Right.
So, yeah, I was kind of like locally handicapped in mobility and ability to, like, I can't raise a hand and express, but I could jump to another I could teleport.
Right.
So, and the people in the room physically couldn't do that. So, in some ways, I'm a little disadvantaged, but there are these odd superpowers that you get, like you could jump to another, and that other mind could be on the other side of the moon or in Australia. It just doesn't matter. And so that's an interesting, I found psychologically it was interesting, and it made me feel for the first time like, oh, I got a little taste of the Star Trek transporter.
Yeah.
Right? I beamed over to the new place and then popped right back, and it was quite fun.
Right. Yeah, I mean, some of the things that, I was just thinking about is that, like with the regular collection stuff, I'm driving like a dump truck around, I'm collecting stuff, that I can jump over into a loader to load stuff into the truck and jump into the truck, drive it back to the processing facility, and then at the processing facility I can jump into a forklift operator or something like that to help unload the truck and run the processes and stuff, and so that I can change from point to point to point as the need arises.
So maybe you take the robot out, have it start digging in an area,
and
you go back to work at the mine.
The excavator's still gathering while I'm dump truck.
So I'm just kind of thinking out loud with it. So you'll want the excavator to be autonomous. Well, this is something I say about robotics in general. They don't have to be perfect. I guess my model is if I had a robot that was like a super well-behaved 4-year-old, I'd love it. And so let me give an example. If I tell the well-behaved 4-year-old, please vacuum the kitchen floor, and maybe there's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that's spilled on the floor, and they may come back to me and say, "You know, Dad, I got the whole floor vacuumed except there's a sandwich in the corner and I didn't know what to do." I'm actually pretty happy. They did their job. They didn't vacuum the sandwich, which would be a big mistake. And I'm relating this to like a robot vac, right? So, holy grail. I come back, the room's clean, the sandwich is taken care of, and there's no jelly inside the robot that's a mess.
Right.
That's not going to happen this year. But what could happen is the robot could clean the room and kind of come at me and beep, take me over and show me, "Will, I got all but this." And I would say, "Hey, that was 85% of it. You told me what I had, what was beyond your capacity, and you didn't make a mistake and like put jelly into the brushes of the vac." I would think that'd be great. So same thing, now you're going to mine the regolith. You're back here at the factory attending to that, and then you get when it outside of some set of bounds, it either runs out of stuff or isn't sure what to do about a big rock, it alerts you then. And that would be almost as good as if it never had to alert you.